So, hi folks, it's been quite a lot of free time. It's been a lot of, you know, discussions at home. And as I've been stating in my earlier videos, this has been a different time. And some of you are finding it difficult that, look, it's getting onto the nerve now that, look, how long we're going to be at home. And have you noticed that, look, we have developed certain behaviors over a period of time, and we like to behave that way only, and that's how we all have become. Okay. And ladies and gentlemen, this behavior, in other terms, is called, we all have developed habits. Okay. So we have a habit to go to the office. When we go to the office, we have certain habits which we do within the office. And I've been reading for the last couple of days, and I picked up a book called The Power of Habit. Okay. And I picked up a book because the very caption or very name of the book really fascinated me, and I decided to pick up the book. And I read that book last week. And interestingly, I came across another book on subject of the habit, and that is the book which is written by a person called James Clear, and the name of the book is Atomic Habit. So the two books I read on the subject of habit, both the books are superb reading. Okay. And I wanted to understand the subject of habit, because I've always been carrying this notion in my mind that, look, do organizations have habit? Okay. Do families have habit? Okay. Is habit something which is individual phenomena, or does it happen in a group? Okay. And the book, which is Power of Habit, Charles has given multiple examples with reference to how different organizations deal with subject of habit. Okay. How do they understand consumer? Okay. How do they understand the behavior of the buyer? Okay. And how do they connect with the habit which people have? So whether it is an example of the Starbucks, or other examples which Charles has given in the book. And the book talks about what is called as a habit loop. Now, there is a cue, there is a routine, and there is a reward. So there is a loop. Okay. And we are into that loop, and we've been doing it time and again without being aware that, look, we are into that loop. And if you want to change a habit, or if you want to create a new habit, you need to understand this loop and how does this loop work. Okay. So Charles covers this subject of the habit loop, and then takes the book from individual perspective to institutional perspective, or to an organizational perspective. And that's where the book has a lot of cases. Okay. And I think if I compare these two books, Charles has done a better job in terms of getting into the research and getting into the different dimensions of the research with reference to the subject of the habit. Okay. And his book has a bigger scope, and the coverage of the book is more, while the second book, which is Atomic Habit, is more individual. Okay. Where James does talk about some of the examples which are more than the individual, but I think the focus of the book is more on the individual. Okay. Like, how do you develop habits, and then how do you create new habits which are good habits, and how do you stop the so-called bad habits. And so the book Atomic Habits is more with reference to you. Okay. While the Power of Habit is going beyond you. Okay. And it is talking about other stuff. So please understand, whatever you want to read, if you want to read more about from the individual point of view, then I think it's Atomic Habits, which is more specific, while the other one, which is the Power of Habit, is going beyond individual. Okay. So the book, which is Atomic Habit, what I've liked about this book is there is a chapter which talks about your identity and your habit. So it's like your habits are your identity, and your identity determines habit. Okay. That's where the book talks about goal oriented behavioral change, process related behavioral change, and most importantly, the what we call as identity related change. So the behavioral change happens at these three levels, okay? And the concept of habit, the way it's being defined by James, is very, very powerful. So the first two chapters, I think one has to read slowly, digesting them completely, and so that, you know, when you move forward in the book, when the book talks about the four elements of the habit, okay? So there, he's also talking about what is called as a cue. He's talking about second element, which is craving. He's talking about third element, which is a routine or a behavior, and then finally the fourth element, which is a reward, okay? And both of them are saying that, look, you know, habits are so integral to us that we are hardly aware that, look, we are habituated to do this, okay? Now, when I was reading this book, I was trying to recall, you know, I've come across families where there is a particular habit. Everybody in the family shows that habit, okay? And the subject is so subtle that, look, you don't realize that, look, you also have a habit, okay? And so, very interesting to go through these two books. So it says that, look, there's always a cue, there's always a craving, and there's always a behavior, and there's always a reward. This is how this entire thing works, okay? And we remain completely sometimes aware, sometimes in complete oblivion with reference to the way it happens, because it happens so fast, it's so automatic, okay? It's and you need these habits, okay? If you don't have these habits, the day-to-day working would become very difficult, because most of these habits are lying at your subconscious, okay? And the subconscious keeps feeding the conscious, because your conscious is able to handle one thing at a time, and it's only because of the habits that we are able to do a lot of things together at the same time. So it's not about the good habit, or it's not about the bad habit, it's also about what is called as an effective habit, okay? So you got to get into habits which make your life easier. You got to get into habits which make you, you know, go faster, smoother, keeps you healthier, keeps your relationship intact. So all those habits which make you grow, I think, are good habits. And all those habits which do not make you grow, put your relationship into problem, or, you know, you lose more than gain, then there is a way to look at those habits as something which needs to be stopped or discontinued, okay? So interestingly, the two ways to handle the two types of habits. So it's like, if you want to create a new good habit, there's a way to do it, and it's a beautiful way which is being mentioned in the book. The way is that, look, you know, whatever new you want to do, make it obvious, okay? Make it obvious in the sense that, look, you know, so you want to start eating more of the fruits, and you want to stop eating those, you know, what is called as a junk eating. So what you got to do is that you got to create cues within the house. So you can place for example, fruits on the dining table. You can put fruits you know, on the fridge. You can put fruits at a lot of visible places, so that as you walk across within the house, you pick up fruit and you eat, okay? So this is something like, you know, creating cues or making cues obvious, okay? So you want to eat fruit so that your system remains good. You want to cut down on your weight, and you want to make yourself feel healthier and smarter, and that's how you want to get into sensible eating habits. So it says that, look, you know, you got to, number one, create, you know, something which is obvious. So you make the new habit which you want to develop as obvious. Second, he says that, look, you know, you got to make this new habit attractive, okay? And third, it says that, look, you got to make this habit easy, okay? And the fourth element which is required is that you got to make this habit satisfying, okay? Think about it, very powerful stuff. That, look, anything new you want to start, you got to have cues, so that there's a craving, and then with craving there is a, and he says, look, the cues are all about noticing, okay? Craving is all about what do we call as obtaining, okay? And your reward, or this thing is about the satisfaction, okay? So any habit would have these four elements. And similarly, he says that look, if there are habits which are to be discontinued, he says you got to do exactly the opposite of what you've been doing to create new and good habits, okay? Which is that make things invisible, okay? So instead of, in case of a good habit, we were talking about make things obvious. There it says that look, you got to make things invisible, okay? We are saying that make things attractive to develop new habits, while on the other side it says that you got to make these things unattractive, okay? So we are saying that make things easy, okay? While there it says that look, make things difficult, okay? And in case of creating good habits, we are saying that the fourth point is we got to make things satisfying, while on the other side it says that you got to make these things dissatisfying, okay? So the two sets and two different situations, creating good habits and discontinuing with the bad habits, okay? So think about it, ladies and gentlemen, that subject of habit is so important. And Atomic Habit also has a chapter on how parents need to understand this subject of habit, but it's not part of the book. You got to download it from the website. And similarly, there is a chapter on organizations also, but that also needs to be downloaded from the website. So the two books on habit, both of them, as far as the concept of habit is concerned, both of them are talking same. I think Charles has gone into finer details of the neurological aspects or the brain related stuff of habit formation, and that's where he talks about bacilli, ganglia and all that stuff, while James has kept things simpler. I think James' book would have a wider appeal, and while the book Power of Habit by Charles would also have a appeal, but I think people slightly, it'll have a niche segment where people who want to really read about the subject of habit with a wider ramification and wider manifestation. I think the Power of Habit is more appropriate there. But both the books, Charles as well as James, you guys have done a superb job, and a subject which is so simple like habit, getting into the finer details of it, researching, collecting cases, and then coming out with interesting observations, relating with your own experiences. It's been great reading both the books. Thank you very much, Charles, and thank you very much, James, for giving us two interesting books. And ladies and gentlemen, I would suggest you pick up Atomic Habit first because it's a simpler read. And then, if you find interesting, then you can go deeper into the other book, which is the book by Charles, which is about wider coverage of the subject of the habit. So, thank you very much. Take care of yourself. Take care of your family. Please do not move out. This is sort of a blessing in disguise. Read as much as possible, watch good stuff, and share good ideas within the family with your younger ones, and take care of your elder ones. Thank you very much. Bye bye. Jai Ho.